All right, we're live on YouTube. We're live on TikTok. Good morning, everybody. Hey now. Give us a call. We got the entire show ahead of us. That's how an intro works. 253-263-1540. 253-263-1540. Welcome to the show, everybody. Good morning. It feels like the last 4 days have been a year, but that's all right. We'll get it done together. 253-263-1540 or something like that. We are live on YouTube. We're live on TikTok, and I probably should sit a little bit more to the center of the frame. And that's really all I have to say. Good night, everybody. Even though it's morning. I got to tell you something. I know it's an intro, and I'm already ready to start the show, but I am just like over it. I don't know about you, but people are driving me crazy. Now I'm hearing a lot of white noise. Why am I hearing so much white noise? It's very loud. I'm hearing a lot of white noise. But people are, I'm telling you, people are driving me crazy. They're driving me crazy. In the real world, online, it is just too much. And now this white noise is driving me crazy. I'd love to know, I think it's the computer. I think the computer is just, it's over it. It's very loud. Anyway, people are driving me crazy. I just started writing an article on Substack. We are launching a Substack. It's actually out there. If you want to go find it, good luck. But we are, and so I started writing this article, and I just have to get it out, you know? And sometimes it seems just easier to type. And I just find sometimes it just starts to flow. And so I started doing that. I had a great conversation, a great interview with Jonathan Curl from Robotis yesterday. That is up on YouTube. I podcasted that out. I have another interview later today as well. So we're focusing on the content, we're focusing on the conversation, and we're getting there one way or the other. But I'm going to tell you right now, the white noise that I am hearing from this machine is going to drive me up a wall. Can you hear it? I mean, I feel like I'm sitting on the beach at the ocean. It's like I feel like I got my ear up to a conch shell. That's loud. That's very well. You're right next to it. The phone on TikTok is right next to it. But like the microphone here for the podcast recording it shouldn't pick it up. But that's absurd. I don't want to do this. I don't want to listen to this. I can't even. That's louder than my own thoughts. I got to compete with this for the next 3 hours? Oy vey, Izmir. 253-263-1540. So add computers to the list of things that are getting on my nerves these days. But we'll get through it. I think maybe just the machine's been running too long. I've left this machine on longer than I normally do. This machine could use a reset. If I reset now, we're no longer on YouTube. We'll get over it, though. Or at least, I mean, I'm sure you'll get over it. I'll still be complaining about it. I can't even focus. Like it's just too much. It's so loud. I mean, in any other moment, this would be a very soothing sound, but right now it's incredibly distracting. I mean, I could just stop talking and we could just have a moment of zen. Imagine you're on the beach. You have an ice cold something. Your feet are in the warm sand. And the waves are crashing. People listening to the podcast probably can't hear it because of the microphone. They're like, what is he talking about? But it's so loud. 253-263-1540. I don't know how you all feel, but these last few days for me have been really exhausting. The conversation I had with Jonathan yesterday was a really nice just moment of distraction, a moment of intelligent conversation. We talked about physical AI and the implementation of physical AI. Now, what I find really fascinating about physical AI as compared to generative AI, which is what you're used to with Chat GPT, and you type in a prompt and it generates an image. What we're talking about now is, if you think of Iron Man and you think of Jarvis, okay, we're talking about a fully, not only just a fully autonomous robotic arm like Jarvis and Iron Man, but these folks are working with MIT, all right, to develop a standard so that folks can not only have something like a robotic Jarvis arm that would have it however many, and he talks about how they're still figuring out how many motors and articulation and all of that. But the idea is to create a standard so that future developers can implement AI in the physical world. So Robotis is working with MIT. And I asked them I said, look, NVIDIA's got stuff going on too. Everybody talks about NVIDIA and AI, but NVIDIA is also in the physical AI space. And he said, look, I can only say so much, but obviously we're working with companies like NVIDIA to set that standard. So it's a really fascinating space to be talking about because it's a very new space. AI is a hot topic. Generative AI is what you would most likely associate with AI. Jonathan was talking about physical AI, and the implementation of those robotic arms is only scratching the surface. We're talking about, we were even talking about it on the podcast, on the interview, is AI organs. Imagine, he said something really interesting to me. They were talking about autonomous vehicles. He said there was a meeting about autonomous vehicles, and they were talking about how you would be able to bring it down to zero accidents with AI in autonomous vehicles. But the problem would then be, where are you going to get organ donors? And that's a legitimate concern. That sounds really morbid. That is not the normal thought process. You would think, oh, great, we no longer have car accidents, problem solved, but you've opened up a new problem. Because that's just the way the market works. And it's a crazy thought, but this is what we talked about at one point. So then the conversation came to AI organs. And we're not far off from you being able to have, I almost just said a peripheral, thinking of like a prosthetic hand. I almost just called it a peripheral, which speaks volumes to where we're going. But to have a prosthetic hand that functions like a peripheral is one thing. To have a prosthetic hand that somebody who needs a hand can use in a plug-and-play way is one thing. To be able to give somebody an AI organ, this is what the future of AI is, right? Because it's not just the difference between on and off. One of the things we talked about was the difference between AI and automation. Now, in automation, you would say, okay, let's use a train as an example, as he and I did. Let's say I need you to get from point A to point B. Well, that's a fantastic proposition, and I can tell it to get from point A to point B, and I can program in a certain set of conditions. But it really can't react because it's automated. But with AI, now it can react to all of those conditions in real time. And as it sees new conditions and reacts to them, it can learn. So we talked about that. We talked about the implementation of all of that. And if you want to look at it through the theme park lens, there's really no difference between animatronics and robotics and any of the stuff we're talking about when we talk about physical AI and robotics. But this white noise is driving me nuts. This is driving me nuts. Somebody please call in 253-263-1540. I don't care if you want to talk about anything other than somebody please save me from the white noise. Because right now, if somebody calls in, right, I don't have to listen to that. I'm listening to you. But right now, I have two choices: to listen to myself, which I can't stand, all right, or listen to this. And this white noise coming off of this iMac is so loud. I want to lean back, but then I won't be near the microphone. 253-263-1540. Save me from this white noise. I didn't know. I would have restarted the computer. I'm sure a restart would solve the problem. But it's so loud. It's so loud. Oh, Vegas Mirror. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I really want to talk about some other things. I'm not even done talking about what I'm talking about. But this machine. Oy vey. Why are you so loud? It's very distracting. Does it refresh the phone lines? It's really ruining it for me. It's really ruining it for me. It's going to be like a 12-minute podcast at the rate we're going. But I enjoyed the conversation with Jonathan. I enjoy the idea of talking about something this early in the process. I'm fascinated by it. The idea that we're talking to a company that is involved in the standardization of physical AI, that's a huge deal. Okay? And I love the idea now what is going on? Now I'm getting feedback. What is going on today? I feel like I'm going to get abducted. I don't know what I've built here, but I like the idea of being on the forefront of a conversation. I like the idea of 10 years from now, what they're working on will be implemented in a front-facing way that consumers will see. They'll recognize it on a regular basis. But in this particular moment right now, they're literally still throwing stuff against the wall. I mean that's what he said. He said, "Look, we're not even sure how many joints we want to put in a standard robot arm. So to get to the standardization is where they're at." And I love that, right? You know, you talk about Walt Disney and breaking new ground and being on the forefront of things, and this is it. I mean, it's a really cool place to be. So I'm very thankful to have spoken to Jonathan. We're going to talk again. We're going to talk more. And it was a fun conversation. It wasn't boring. You know, we laughed. We geeked out on other stuff. We talked a little bit about video games, and we just talked about tech. And, you know, I ranted a few times, as I tend to do. But it was a really good conversation. And again, we're talking about market leaders here. This isn't, you know, a vlogger. We're talking about market leaders. I mean, this guy is a robotics engineer. He is an expert in the field. This is MIT. This is robotics. This is South Korea funding the development. These projects they're working on are going to be the foundation for the future. And when we talk about physical AI and the implementation of physical AI, we are talking about smart cities. So it fascinates me. And I know the trite-minded individual will go, what's it have to do with Disney? It's got plenty to do with Disney. And if I have to explain it to you, I don't want to explain it to you. I posted a video on Dunkin' Donuts yesterday, and somebody goes, what's it have to do with Disney? I said, nothing. It's a minute long, and I'm trying to make money from China because that's where my head is at now. All I want to do is post videos and see what pops. I don't care about the name. I don't care about changing the name. I'm not trying to go live to make money anymore. I am my moral compass. I won't allow me to play the game that has been played. And in 75 days, we're going to go through it again, and I don't want to be here for it. I kind of want to just get on an airplane and go somewhere for a while, you know? You know, I was talking to Leah on the phone, and Leah's like, well, at least go live on Twitch, get subs, like get it going. And I'm like, I don't even want to do it. In this particular moment, I don't even want to do it. And and again, you got to build it, right? So it takes time. And I've gotten to the point in this whole conversation, and this is not a new thought, and it's not a new thought to share with the audience, but I've gotten to the point where I'm like, look, I can make my money elsewhere today. I don't need to go live to make my money. Other people do. That's cool. I get it. But I'll do something else to make money today. But I've always been that person. So I'm going to save my dignity, and I'm going to save, my principles when it comes to things like Chinese propaganda, because it's not a Democrat and Republican issue at this point. And I really, really think that we have set ourselves back in a major way in this country. And if that's a problem to have that conversation with people, and all people want to know is when I'm going to be back in the parks, then just hit the unfollow button at this point. Because in 75 days, they're going to hit it for you anyway. I mean, I got one guy coming in the other day, 3 days in a row. No parks. Wow, no parks. Wow, no parks. Well, like by the third time, like, what? I mean, really? I mean, you're grown up. You're a grown up. Let's start acting like grown-ups, folks. There's no reason to be crying over TikTok. Let's start acting like grown-ups. There's no reason to be telling other people what to do with their business. Focus on your own business. I think if people spent more time focusing on themselves and stopped worrying about things like a social media app, then we could rely less on our government to help us. I do think we need better leaders, and I do think we need help. But I think we can be our biggest advocate if we actually have a moment of introspection. And I fear that most people don't know how to look inward or don't care to. The same way that most people don't care to actually work or do a job. Nothing drives me crazier than walking up to a counter waiting for somebody to finish a conversation or get off their cell phone. And I'm not talking about a work conversation. I'm talking about chattering. People don't want to work. People don't want to take the initiative to look up the answers to questions. They'd rather come into a live and ask me what the temperature is in Orlando than open up the weather app. And I don't mind answering questions. I'm just making a point. We have all this access to information, and people are dumber than ever. I don't know how to say it any other way. I try to put a more positive spin on it, but we have all this information, and people are like so uninformed. It is scary. And to not be able to take the time to look something up or to figure something out or to figure out something for yourself or to advocate for yourself. I do think people need help. I'm all for helping people, but I think sometimes people are their own worst enemy. Get out of your way and help yourself. I'm amazed at the way some of these adults carry themselves. I'm amazed. And then the scariest part is you find out they have kids. Children raising children. That's how we got where we are in this country. Children raising children. Now, maybe I sound like a 65-year-old man from Boca Raton. Or like the old man in Scooby-Doo, these damn kids. But it's children raising children. And everybody's so stuck in their ways and so stuck in their corner that they refuse to learn anything from anybody else, let alone show appreciation. So maybe this whole TikTok thing is just a lesson, okay, that we spend way too much time on social media. And this is coming from somebody who makes a living doing it. And when I started, I didn't make a living doing it because I didn't want to make a living doing it. Now, I feel the same way again. I would rather focus on having conversations like I had yesterday and like the interview I'm going to do later today, and focus on putting out those interviews and having those conversations and not make a dollar from them, than go running around Disney World live on TikTok trying to hit gift goals and arbitrary ranking statuses to put money in the pockets of China. Some of you may call that an overreaction, but if you really care, you'll understand. If you know anything about history, you'll understand. And when it comes down to another nation using propaganda against our people, that's when I pump the brakes. I've joked for a while now about China and TikTok and the CCP and all that. But this one's a road too far for me. And anybody who doesn't like what I have to say, anybody who doesn't agree, I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just telling you how I feel. If you don't like it, you're welcome. I invite you to unfollow. If all you're here for is to ask me when I'm going to the parks, assume the answer is never, even though that's not accurate. I'm not going to ask you to be patient at this point. I'm just not going to address it. We have way bigger issues. I mean, I'm talking to Kenzie yesterday. I'm talking to Leah. I mean, folks are concerned. And what's wild to me, okay, and I'm just going to talk, even though TikTok is not the most important thing in the world, it is my livelihood, so I'll talk about TikTok for a moment, okay? What's wild to me is how by Sunday, 90% of y'all thought the problem was solved, and I'm sitting on pins and needles all day Monday waiting for this orangutan in the Oval Office. Oh, you shouldn't say that. Oh, shut up. I'm going to say whatever I want. It's my platform. Let me be a human being for a minute. All right? I'm waiting for him to mumble out what the hell the executive order is. So I'm like, wait, what's going on? And in between, in between whatever the hell he's doing, I'm trying to get bits and pieces as journalists are asking him questions. Because he got the press he needed over the weekend. TikTok got the BS press they needed over the weekend. By the time it came to signing the executive order, y'all were over it. You're back on TikTok. Yay, you're back. Meanwhile, my app isn't still fully working. My monetization is still partially cut off. And I don't know what's going on. And I'm twisting in the wind all day Monday. And I'm getting messages from grown-ups because you're crying about the app. Shut up. Grow up. Get a job, read a book, touch some grass. It's not my problem. If I make the conscious decision to walk away from this, that's on me. But to wait for the whim, okay, and of one man to decide what or may not be, and to wait another 75 days for it, I'm not going to allow myself to be manipulated by the audience, to be manipulated by the propaganda, to be manipulated by none of it, any of it. Because all those fake goodbyes, all these idiot content creators who went on and said goodbye, knowing they'd be back. Oh, it's my last show. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. I'll be over on Red Note. Shut up. You're back on TikTok. You inauthentic idiot. I'm just over it. I don't care anymore. I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off. You all been played for fools. You've all been played for fools by China. My blood is boiling right now. It's disgusting. We have people in the streets who have fought for this country, who are suffering from mental illness, and you're crying over a social media app? Shame on you. Shame on you. Get a clue. Get a clue. Asking me when I'm going back to Disney. When we got people in Southern California who don't know where their kids are going to school. All right. We have people in this country right now that don't even know if they're going to be if they're going to be here tomorrow. And irrespective of how you may feel on any one of those issues, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize any one of those issues is more important than TikTok. And you're crying about a social media app. Disgusting. Of course, nobody's going to call in. Nobody's going to call in because I'm going to bite your head off at this point if you try to tell me TikTok's worth anything. I really won't bite your head off. Call in 253-263-1540. Hi. I'm over it. I don't need the revenue stream because I'll go make a new revenue stream for myself. All right? That's what an entrepreneur does. I'll build something brand new. I got enough going on over here. I'll shut down tomorrow and start brand new. Now, I'm not saying that's what I'm doing. I'm just saying I don't find myself beholden to some corporate entity, let alone some other country. There are days that I am PO'd with this country, but I am proud to be an American. My namesake fought and died for this country. My grandfather was a disabled veteran who suffered till the end. Wake up. Wake up. Imagine I went to an ad break right now. Be like the perfect time to talk about pots and pans and knives. Maybe not the knives. The outrage. I mean, I don't understand how we got here. You know, if you really want to think about it, you can talk about how we got here. But y'all are arguing about whether Elon Musk made a Nazi salute. Don't you realize the fact that that's what you're arguing about is the problem, not the answer to the argument? It doesn't matter what Elon Musk is doing with his hands. It's the fact that y'all are dying on that hill in more ways than one. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep having the conversations with the people that I want to talk to. I'm going to keep doing this radio show, this podcast. But I don't care in this moment about TikTok, Disney, changing my name, streaming, making money from streaming. I don't care about any of it. I want to know what my purpose is going to be for the next 4 years and beyond. I have always been a political-minded person. I have worked on campaigns. I've held press conferences with leaders, but I've never really been involved in a way that I'd like to be involved. Okay? And I think for me, when I look around, as much as I appreciate that I've built something, and I look around, and there's so many people that support me, but when I look around, so many of you need some help. You really do. I know we're all struggling. I need help too. But if you are crying about an app and your life is so connected to social media, then I suggest you find a stronger purpose. I know it's an escape. It was an escape for me. But to be manipulated at this level, I'm sorry. It's disgusting. And if what I'm saying offends you, so be it. Okay? But I'm talking about myself as well, because obviously I'm questioning everything that I've done and everything that I'm doing and everything that I'm intending to do. I tweeted it out that I feel disgraced to be, somebody that makes a living on TikTok after that level of propaganda. So I'm in many ways could just throw my hands up and walk away from it all. I can do whatever I want. I'll just start building computers for people. That's a new skill I developed. I'll just build computers for people. I'm sure I could find 3 people in this chat right now that would like a computer built for them. I'd be done. I'd make a couple bucks. I'd be good. Boom, new business. I'm sure I could go 3D print some tchotchke and go sell it to a bunch of people on Instagram and Etsy and have a new business. I'd be off to the races. I'm sure I could go get a job at Universal as a maintenance guy working on their rides. I'm sure I could get a job back in the TV industry working at some level on a TV show doing something. What I don't need to do is to play this game anymore. I've got the security of knowing that I have options. I feel for those that have all their eggs in one basket, because so many do. And we're going to be here in 75 days again. Well, you all may be here in 75 days again. I don't know if I will be. I haven't decided what I'm doing. But I'm as you can tell, I am fed up because we have lost the plot in this country. Now, I don't care who you voted for. I'm an independent. But I'm just telling you like I see it. All of our leaders are jokes. And as far as my livelihood is concerned, I would much rather not be held up on the whim of a quote-unquote leader. I'd rather take control. I'd rather take control of the situation, even at a deficit. And at least I would know, A, I'm holding on to my moral compass, and B, I've got that sense of control. I don't want to be twisting in the wind for 75 days. I don't have the expectation that anyone in my audience should resubscribe. It's a game. I think there was a huge lack of consideration shown for the creators. I don't think TikTok cared. I already knew they didn't. But I think it's appalling. Now, I don't have the number up on the screen. The number is 253-263-1540. 253-263-1540. It is a new year, which means it is time to spice up your kitchen. And Pampered Chef has all the goodies from spatulas, mandolins, amazing pots and pans and knives. Plus, don't miss out on small appliances like the deluxe air fryer and coffee maker. Spice up your kitchen today. Go to Colleen Herman at pamperedchef.com/PWS/Colleen Herman. pamperedchef.com/PWS/Colleen Herman. And with no estate plan, you could be leaving those you love the most with high taxes, probate fees, and an incomplete or divided estate, and legal fights and fees. If you live in Florida, contact RK Law for a free consultation to discuss the options and tools you have available to protect your home, savings, and estate for those you love the most. To get started, send an email to russell@rklawpro.com or call 786-566-2456 to set up your consultation. That's russell@rklawpro.com. Last minute shipping from the theme parks. Maybe you need a notary, or you're local, you need a P.O. box, whatever it may be. Check out my friends at the UPS store located right behind the Magic Kingdom, 6526 Old Brick Road. That's the UPS store located right behind the Magic Kingdom at 6526 Old Brick Road. And as always, William.bailey Travel is available to help you with any of your destination planning. Disney cruises, a Disney cruise, you're just looking to see the world, and I don't blame you. William provides a customizable experience at competitive rates. Check out William.bailey Travel or fill out the travel form on my website, royces.com. You can reach out to William.bailey at academytravel.com. William.bailey at academytravel.com. Now, shifting gears to Disney for a second. This guy, Tom at WDW, whatever, the blah, 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 blah. This guy's out there selling Cosmic Ray plush. I saw this on Twitter this morning. How is this guy this blogger allowed to sell plush of a Disney IP. By the way, he's just using a vendor because he told people he doesn't know what month the orders will be around, because he's just basically trying to pre-sell something. There's 100 of these companies you can do that with. If you really knew how to do manufacturing, you would go right to the source and you would actually have a timeline on delivery. But because he's trying to fleece his audience and get as many pre-sales as possible, he doesn't have an estimated delivery time. He gave people like a 4-month window. And as somebody that's actually manufactured plush, I can tell you he's using a third-party company. He's not actually working directly with a manufacturer. Otherwise, he would know when he was going to get his shipment, okay? So that being said, he's doing all of that, and he's selling a stupid character that Disney owns. Where's the lawsuit? Where's the lawsuit, Disney? Where's the lawsuit? Is it part of a deal you cut with them? Is that what it was? You give us positive press when we need it the most, and you can make a couple coins off of a fake Nuemo? Is that what it was? As you can tell, I don't like the guy. 253-263-1540. I could care less about what's really going on in the theme park world, but I saw that, and I'm like, oh my God, how corrupt is that in its own right? How corrupt is that in its own right? I mean, Disney's, kicking bloggers out for selling crappy 3D printed ears on Etsy, and this guy is trying to pre-sell something that's a direct violation of IP. Where's the lawsuit, Disney? Somebody clip this out and go tag Disney. That guy needs to get a cease and desist. That's just business. If somebody tried to do that with my IP, I would do the same thing. You can't just go doing that. You can't just go taking some company's characters and printing it on your own shirts. I know people do it. You're not supposed to. But if the guy's actually been around forever, is doing quite well business-wise, so he doesn't need to do this, it's either a backdoor deal or I don't know what's going on. But that any other circumstance, that would be a big, big no-no. If you all went out there and made little Cruella de Vil plushies, you'd be sued in 2 seconds, even if you didn't sell any. If you just set up the website, you'd be slapped with a cease and desist quicker than that cat smacked that kitten when we did the marathon. (253-263). I'm just trying to make sure that the phone system is refreshing. 253-263-1540. 253-263-1540. Lots of comments. They did say that they would take the app down. They did say, or no, excuse me, Katie, forgive me. They said that they wouldn't take the app down. So what they did was purely a stunt. Purely a stunt. I'm sorry I'm missing so many comments. The number to call, 253-263-1540. 253-263-1540. No, they assured us. I sat in TikTok headquarters. I've told you all this. I'll tell you again. But I sat in TikTok headquarters and go, no, they're not going to just pull the app overnight. This is what would happen. It would disappear from the stores. Is it even back in the stores? I don't know. Is it not back? Maybe it's not back in the stores, which is crazy. Does anybody know? No, you're good, Katie. Here's the thing. They could have just said, can we get an extension, right? Let the law go into play, right? Let the app stores do what the app stores are going to do and not do anything on the front-facing TikTok side for the viewer. Everything they chose to do was an orchestrated PR stunt because none of it factored into the actual way things were meant to play out. There was literally no reason to turn off the app. It was based on the app stores and access to the app. So an extension, like the idea of them going, oh, thank you, we got an extension. They didn't need to shut the app off to get to that point. They shut the app off earlier than the law. Okay, and then they turned it on earlier than the new administration. So if you go just look at the sum of all the parts, it's all BS. A lot of people are saying they didn't realize how connected they were to it. But I don't even know if it's in the App Store anymore, and I don't even care. Let's go to 786. You're on the air. Who's this? I've gotten used to the white noise.
Hi, Royce. It's Danny.
Hi, Danny.
How are you?
I'm
Fired up.
Would you believe I'm good?
I will take you at your word if you say so.
Yeah, sure. Go for it. What's up?
Just been listening to what you've been saying this morning, and I mean, I just wanted to, I have my own thoughts on all of this, and there was a lot of reflection and talk in my home over the weekend with everything that happened with the app. Just like amongst us as a family. And I know it's been several crazy days, but aside from trying to deal with real life and realizing that the app is not really real life, even though it's been inserted into our lives and it's become part of our lives, at the end of the day, it should not be that important. So there was a lot of talk about that in my home. And the fact that you're talking about it a lot, which I understand is completely different because I'm looking at it, or at least we are, from kind of like the perspective of almost like an audience, where I'm very conflicted between us just being social media consumers and then the people that use it for their livelihood. I do have a lot of empathy for that, because I know a lot of people that I do follow where it's like their total stream of income, that I know that they were just freaking out. And just me being a mom, it kind of like, I see a lot of these young people trying to make their way, and it made me sad and nervous for them. But I also am a big believer that social media in general is not exactly the best thing for people's kind of like mental state if they're kind of teetering on a bad place. And I don't know. I love it for the information that I can get, where I sometimes don't get it on mainstream media, but at the same time, I can see there's so many pros and cons to it. It's hard to disassociate yourself, but I'm older, so I know I can get along without it, and I'd be perfectly fine, because I lived in a world when it didn't exist, when a lot of things didn't exist that we have now. So I know I'd be okay. But I can see just over the last 3 days, it's evident that there's too much connectivity, but not for the right reasons. So I'm not happy to stick around for 75 days and see this kind of meltdown happen again. And I hope everyone that is using it for a stream of income takes this opportunity for the next 2.5 months to kind of figure out what they can do in their lives to help themselves, not have to depend on the whims of, billionaires and politicians for their livelihood.
Well, that's well said. But to the folks that, over the next 75 days are going to try to figure out how to diversify, sadly, it's too late, I mean, because there's no way you can take what you've built and copy that in 75 days on another platform and mirror that revenue. It's just not possible. So a lot of these folks in 75 days are going to find themselves in the same problem. So I question the idea of anybody, if you're looking at it like an investment, and again, I'm not even talking about myself right now. So if you're just looking at it like an investment, and I should be talking about myself because it applies to me, but I try to put on this aura of like things don't bother me, especially if I'm actually numb to them, and I'm just numb to it. So yeah, in the back of my mind, I'm looking at my bank account and looking at my life and looking at my spending and going, what are we going to do here? You know what I mean? But I'm also as an entrepreneur, wired to wake up in the morning and go, where am I going to make my money today? Not everybody has that. So for those that could find themselves out of a principal revenue stream in 75 days, there's no, to replicate that elsewhere, it's near impossible unless you've already got it. I mean, it's just so, you're starting over anyway. Why would you invest time, more time, in something that could go away? At this point, you should be elsewhere. A lot of people said, TikTok's going away, you'll catch me over here. And I'm talking about streamers and creators and whatnot. Why? And if you really did go there, did you stay there? Or did you come back to TikTok so you only went for 2 days? Then it just shows like bad judgment. You know? So it's a business decision and it's a judgment call for me. And I look at it like, I'll use TikTok. Like I said, I'll post videos about anything at this point now. I don't care about don't tell me to change my name. Don't tell me to change my name. I'll do whatever I feel like doing on that app if I can make a buck off of China. All right. I'll post a video about koala bears. All right. If it's going to get 1 million views and get China to put some money in my pocket at this point. But I am not going to expect my audience to sign back up for anything on TikTok. How can I? That would make me a crook.
Well, I remember when I didn't know much about, I came to TikTok late. Let's just start off with that. So I usually jump on any social media platform way after it started and has kind of hit its peak. I come on the back end. And I remember distinctly when I came on TikTok, and the reason why I did, which has nothing to do with the conversation, but just so you can see, it was during the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial, because I was trying to get different perspectives that I wasn't getting on social media. And a friend of mine just said, just go on TikTok because everybody's talking about it there. So I had downloaded it before and I'd never used it. So I went on. And then, of course, I immediately, within like a couple of days, I realized this can be absolutely addicting. Addicting, because you find yourself scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And then your brain gets so scattered that I can see where that pull is to be on it all the time. And then your life, if you don't have a lot of things going on, can just, you suddenly realize I've sat here for hours and been on this app. And what have I done with my life? Like
but that's just life. Every app. The scrolling thing is every app. I think the extra layer, from my perspective, that makes TikTok extra toxic is that you've got, particularly with the lives, okay, you have this ecosystem where people get invested both with their time and their money. And then if you're not live, they've got something like the Discord to bridge the gap. And that's why I can't stand Discord, because Discord keeps the live toxicity going when the live isn't live. And then what happens is it's like one long reality show for people. But from the creator perspective, like, I'm just a human being trying to live my life. So if I said I'm going to be live at 9 and I start getting messages at 9:01 that, where are you? Why aren't you live? Like, it's insane. Like, I'm not a TV network yet, but like, I'm one person. I'm a human being trying to figure it out. And then these people get so attached to you, and it's like, bro, leave me alone.
But that just proves the point where when you are, I'm just going to deal with adults. Okay. When you're an adult and you're living your life, and this is part of it. Okay, just any social media app you're on, whether it's TikTok or not, and you have certain people you follow and people that you really like and topics that they cover that you are interested in, and you're always looking for them or you want to support them, whatever it may be. And just like you said, if I say I'm going to be live at 9, and 10 minutes later I'm not live yet, and everybody's freaking out. Like, if the TV guide said, well, this is whales, but it said the program starts at this time and hasn't started, and you start, having a meltdown. To me, that proves the point where you need to take a step back at that point. If you find yourself where this almost becomes your identity.
Well, it is. And then it's like,
I can understand. I would be I'm like, oh, I wonder if something happened to Royce. If it was like an hour later and you hadn't made, hey, I can't come on, something popped up, or like the mama in me is always worried about, is this person okay? That kind of thing. But like, I don't need to know your business, and I don't need to know why you wanted to or why you stopped doing it. Like, that particular aspect of it is the intrusivity that I don't like in my personal life. So I definitely wouldn't want to see anybody, put that on anybody else. At the end of the day, you don't owe anything to anyone. No creator does. I don't care whether a person goes on any social media app and talks about anything they want to talk about, their opinions, their personal life. They sit there and spew everything that's happened to them. And then everybody starts commenting. And then people will say, well, they opened themselves up to this because they went here and they made it everybody's business.
Well, I like the kind of person that'll message me and be like, I need you back in the parks. And I know they're trying to be funny, but like, I need you to like not bother me. Like, you know what I mean? It's just sort of one of those things.
That's not your job.
Well, no, I mean, it is, right? Or at least.
I don't think it's your job to live stream from the park. It's your job to make your livelihood in the manner in which you want to, so that you can live your life and pay your bills. Whatever you want to do with that time is your business. If you want to live stream from the park, great. And if that's something that I love and I want to watch, great. We have two things in common, and we can all be happy.
And when you see that notification,
show, if you want to make,
you'll know.
I don't. It's the incessant questions of the park, just like I see on other people. If a makeup artist suddenly doesn't post something about makeup, they'll say, go back to makeup.
Well,
nobody wants to hear this.
So now you're tapping into the TikTok, because I saw a comment somebody made on YouTube about how I think it's Fred, about how specifically with TikTok, he found himself jumping into it even when he couldn't. TikTok, the algorithm of TikTok is built that way. So let's say you're a new user on TikTok and you make that first video, and I'm just going to, whatever it is, right? Let's say, Danny, you make the video and it's something about cookies and Disney. Whatever the niche is, and that thing that blows up then defines you, right? And now, like, suddenly when you try to break away, and I'm not, again, it's the app as a whole, not just the live streaming Disney side of it. But what happens is the algorithm, then that's what it pegs you for. So whatever that thing is that works for that video, however niche it may be, if you got hamsters running on an LED wheel, all right, and that's the video that blows up, or you're two people that go to Costco and yell boom on a review, and even though that guy was doing real estate videos. And then he made one video and it blew up and he rode the wave. And it's a fascinating study because he's taken it really, really far. But if you really look at how surface it is, and he's going to take it far, and it's so surface level, but that's why it works. But the algorithm got him there. And it wasn't any other platform. It was TikTok. One video blew up and redefined his page. So TikTok's fascinating that way. I'm at the point now where I'm like, I'm just going to make videos about whatever I want for the next 75 days in the hopes that one of them blows up and I can make $1,000. If I can make an extra $1,000 with a video blowing up, I'd be thrilled. I don't care what it's about anymore. Like, I just am tired of going live with the expectation that my audience is going to be there. You're one of my biggest supporters. Show their support and not question what just occurred. I have a huge problem with that.
I mean, I'll be honest. I don't care what you do, but that's just me. I mean, when you do Disney stuff or Disney related stuff, it's great because I'm a fan. So of of the whole brand, as I can tell you are, which is where the passion lies. And that's fine. But if you don't want to do that anymore and you want to talk about different things, that's fine too. I mean, I'm sure I've said this a million times when we've spoken or when I've been in the chat. For me, the initial draw was seeing you at the parks. What kept me tuning into your streams as opposed to someone else's that was doing the exact same thing you were doing in the exact same place was you and your personality and the things that you would talk about even when your face was not on screen. Those things that those words of wisdom, those little tidbits of information, I could tell there's someone that knows something past all of this. And it's not just here to be like, oh, look, this is so cute. Oh, it's like, you know what I mean? I'm already in my 50s. I'm like past that point where the shiny things draw me in. I'm looking for a little bit of more substance.
No, I want substance.
So I will continue with you, whatever you do, because to me, at this point, you're the draw, not the Disney content.
Well, look, it's
not much as I love it. And if you wanted to do it again, it's fine.
And it's nice of you to say that. And I mean, look, and I'm not looking for that, but the conversation I had with Jonathan from Robotis yesterday, it's very connected to the Epcot and Progress City of it all. It's very connected to robotics and animatronics, and it's on the cutting edge of new technology. So it's very in line with the Walt and the Epcot of it all. I can't explain that to everybody, nor do I intend to, but for me, it's just part of the same passion.
There's an example that I tell people a lot when I go to Disney, and you can always tell when you travel with someone or you visit the park with different kinds of people, the type of experience that you're going to have depending on who your travel companion is. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but if I'm going with someone and all they're fixated on is, do I have a lightning lane? Did I get a fast pass? Like, oh, we're going to miss this ride. And it's this constant level of high anxiety because they have like a laundry list of rides that they need to get on. And if they don't get on those rides, they will say, this was the worst time I've ever had. And I'm more of the person that like, I could literally go to any of the parks and not get on one attraction the entire time that I'm there, spend almost $200 and still have a good time.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm taking all the little things in, and I've been there hundreds of times, hundreds. So to me, it's like I find something new every single time. And I tell myself, this is the first time I'm traveling with this person. I'm sure I'm going to I'm going to have a different experience because I'm with this person, and this person will bring a new take to a place that I've been to hundreds of times. And I always find that is the case. So I feel like this is with everybody in every aspect of life. It's the same thing. It's like, oh, how are you going to take it? Like, what are you going to have a miserable time anywhere you go because you have these high expectations? Like, don't get me wrong. I don't want to pay $200 and for a park entrance and feel like I didn't do anything. But at the same time, if it's a day that it's packed, then just, shift gears and say to yourself, okay, I'm not going to get on every single ride, but maybe I can
let me
find
tell you
something
something
different that I haven't done before.
As you know, and I've lived here now, I don't even know how long I've lived here. I've been here a while now, and I've been to Disney World several hundreds of times, if you're just counting days. Okay. I've almost, I'm not going to say I've seen everything because I've certainly not seen everything, but I've seen more than I ever thought I would ever see because Disney World to me was larger than life as a child. The best experiences you can have in Disney World exist outside the park. Period. I could spend a day.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, not that you're saying you need to spend a day and not spend any money, but I could show you how to spend a day in Disney World with not even needing to spend money. You want to buy a drink or buy something, go for it. But I could show you how to spend a free day in Disney World, have the most time of your life. It'd be amazing. I mean, I just know every nook and cranny. I mean, from walks in the woods to to, a boat ride, to rooftop cocktails. I mean, to mini golf. I mean, to like just whatever. Looking at animals, like whatever. There's so much in Disney World to do beyond the rides. What I tried to do at a certain point in my live streaming the parks was spend more time showing people how to enjoy Disney World in a down gear and not be in that high-paced, high-stress, we got to go get the lightning lane, we got to go, dinner's next, bathroom break at noon. That kind of, I can't do that.
Yeah, that neck-breaking pace, to me, just sets you up for disappointment from the get-go. You're not going to enjoy yourself. And I get sometimes for people, it's a lot of money, it's a big expense, and sometimes it's their only trip, or they can only afford a trip every 5 years, whatever it may be. So you feel like, I want to get the most for my money. I understand that from, if like you're head of your family and you really want to give your kids a good time and this is your one and only thing. But when I see sometimes, this is not you, but I'm saying when I've seen streamers before who I know are pass holders who go there all the time, and they are just ranting about, oh, this ride's down for the 5th time. And I get it, but I'm like, things break down all the time.
Yeah.
I take a road every day to go from point A to point B, and suddenly, I can't take that road today. And then I can't take it for a week because there's something going on. Okay, have your 2-second rant and then let it go. Because
yeah, but also you're seeing it too much.
I see it everywhere.
Right, but not you. Them are seeing it too much. If you weren't there all the time, you wouldn't know. So because you're there so much, you're kind of, and things do break down more than they ever have. There's a fair point to that. But also, some people just want to act like they know things when they don't. And, sometimes things go down too much. It's going to be the way it is. And sometimes things go down too much because of the guest experience. But God forbid anybody think about that. I remember working at Animal Kingdom. One of the biggest reasons Kali River Rapids went down on any given day was a guest with a selfie stick. So don't blame the ride tech. That's not the ride tech's fault.
Right.
But they're not going to also tell you, oh, it went down because a guest had a selfie. They're not going to tell you that. But when we have our meeting at night and they go, all right, Kali River Rapids went down 3 times today. Let's say it together. And all the techs and all the mechanics go, guest with a selfie stick. So, just because the ride went down doesn't always mean it's the tech's fault. But some people just want to complain to complain. I love to complain. That's why I love Seinfeld. Whole show is based on complaining. But from that perspective, you don't have any information. So just like shut your mouth and be thankful they even let you in.
Oh, I complain too. It's my nature. I'm Hispanic. We find fault in everything. My issue is that I can see this transcending. This is like a symptom in general of everything. You'll see it whether we're talking about the park, your daily life, you go to a restaurant, you're driving, social media, the world, politics. We're always living in a flawed state, from ourselves to everything that surrounds us. It's always flawed. It will always be flawed. To feel like somebody's going to give you perfection, or you expect this high level of perfection when you yourself can't achieve that, to me, it's ridiculous. And to kind of sum this up, which was the reason why I called, when I said that there was a lot of talk over the weekend about this. The funny thing was, as I could tell that it was going to go down on Saturday, and it was starting to glitch, and the whole thing fascinated me to kind of watch it in real time, which is the part that suckered me in. Not that the app was going away, but like I'd never seen something like that before. So I was like experiencing it in real time and giving my family updates, but they're all watching football and they don't care. I live in a house full of men. So when I finally said it's gone, it's dark, I can't get in it anymore, I just had 3 heads look up at me and be like, who cares? Literally. That's what they said.
Right,
And
but if that was the football game,
two of these people in my home, well, because they were watching football games.
no, but
So,
I'm saying
you
if
know,
that was the
TikTok
football
was
game
not
that went
important.
dark,
And
they'd have the same reaction.
exactly. But, you know, they're like, who? But then as we talked about it on Sunday before it came back up, and then I'm like, oh, look, it's back up. Again, they didn't care. But the conversation that we had, which is the one that I found very interesting, is two of the men that live in my home are 16 and 19 years old. So they're that kind of demographic that kind of lives their life on social media and has grown up with it. My kids don't have social media. I haven't banned them. I haven't prohibited them from having social media. They just don't have it. The only thing that they ever go on is YouTube because, you know, they're gamers and they like to watch people play games and stuff. But their school obligated them to download Instagram because that is the only place where their schools post updates. So they were forced to get Instagram, which they didn't want to do. They don't post anything. They have zero things on their pages. They simply use it to get the school's updates for anything that's
That
going on.
seems like the most
and
illogical place for a school to post updates. Like, just post them on your website or post them on, like, I don't know. I was going to say Twitter,
exactly.
but
I mean, I had a conversation with the principal. I asked the principal about it the first day that I heard about that, and I'm like, my kids don't have social media, and now you're kind of forcing them. I'm like, what's the thought process? And they said, well, these kids are all on social media, so this is our guarantee. I'm like, yeah, but my kids aren't. So now you're kind of forcing them to get on the very thing that you have, like, you have meetings about this, about kids using social media and how harmful it is. And now you're telling them they have to use the very medium that you're warning them about in order to get school updates. Like, it makes absolutely no sense. But I knew that was a bill.
He's probably a meta investor.
Because
you think I'm
I don't
joking?
know if the school district is or not, but apparently that is no, I don't think you're. At this point, really, truly, nothing surprises me. But when I ask my kids, I'm like, why, just out of curiosity, why haven't you ever, like, downloaded? I'm sure all the kids in your school are kind of like on TikTok. And my youngest one, who's still in high school, he's like, yeah, they're all on TikTok. I always see them, like, showing each other. I'm like, and he's like, I hate when we're in lunch and they're all doing TikToks, like they're filming them. And he says, he always tells them, I don't want to be in it, don't put my face on it or whatever. And he says, yeah, I do get a lot of flack about that because they're always asking me, oh, what's my ad? And he's like, I'm not on it. So, I don't know what to tell you.
But, and good for you.
That's very odd for your age.
It's not, though. You raised them right. I mean, look, so I remember hearing people that I knew in college and post-college who'd be like, I'm not on Facebook. And at the time, I'm like, that's wild. How are you not on Facebook? That's wild. Everybody's on Facebook, right? That was the big deal. When Facebook really got popular, right, you could go see, oh my God, look at all these people from high school. And that's what everybody did. I haven't been on Facebook in years. There was a mindset at one point where you felt like you needed to be everywhere. And I think what's happening is some of these kids are wising up and they're realizing that there's no value in it. And that instead of going onto an app and being fed stuff, like you said, they can go to YouTube and they can seek out whatever they want.
That's almost to the word, down to every word you just said. That's what my son, because I asked him the reason. He's like, have you seen the stuff that's on social media? I said, yes, honey, I'm on TikTok. I scroll all the time. And he's like, it's just so stupid, everything that's on there. He's like, what does it even mean? Like, why would I waste my time on it? I'd rather read something. He's like, I don't want my information from there. I don't want to see people jumping up and do dances. It's like they're living their life to be seen,
right?
To have attention. And he's like, I just rather like live my life in the moment. He's like, you see these kids, they spend 20, 25 minutes of a 30-minute lunch break trying to get the perfect TikTok recorded and then they'll scarf down their food in 3 minutes before they walk out. He's like, I'm just staring at them going like, what is this? And I just looked at my kids and I was very happy and relieved because I realized that I'm like, at least I know that they understand the intrinsic pitfalls of living your life in kind of the social media bubble where you're not really truly living your life.
Yeah.
But, and then I was like, but you have to understand that some of us do like seeing kind of like the dumb things, or, you know, it is an escapism.
Right. But we used to get dumb things. We used to get dumb things on, you know, what was it, Alan Funk? Was that America's Funniest Home Videos?
Yeah.
Okay. So we used to get it like that for a half hour. Oh, so those clips that used to be like, oh, they might get like 100,000 clips sent in every year, and maybe 1,000 of them make it to air. Now all 100,000 of those clips are on social media. It's like social media has just become America's Funniest Home Videos with no producer.
Because you would make your home video and it was funny to you and your family. And if you showed it like on the holidays, oh my God, look what I caught. That kind of thing. Not 100,000 people, 1 million people didn't know about your home video or didn't know about what was going on. Whereas now, I think their point was saying they're making content in order to get the clout, the popularity. It's like their life is that. Instead of capturing a moment in their life, they're creating this moment and then it becomes their life. I don't know if I'm kind of explaining.
No, you
it
are.
well.
Listen, I get it wholly. Look, unfortunately, my whole life is social media. I mean, I'm sitting here talking to you and I'm thankful for the conversation, but I'm live on YouTube. I'm live on TikTok. When I'm done, I'll record this and put it on a podcast, and then I'll have a break, and then I'll go do another interview and go post it and do all blah, 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 blah. It's all online. As soon as I turn all that off, do you know how quiet it gets for me? That I wind up diving in and out of apps, even though I'll complain about people messaging me, I'll dive in apps to see if I have messages. Almost like I'm diving in the app to see if I have a message to complain about. So like then you just drop the phone. Like I'll just be like, enough with this thing, you know? I just want to go out and have a nice dinner. I just want to go out right now to a nice dinner. I'd look like a lunatic. I'd be talking to the wall. It'd be like that Curb Your Enthusiasm where the guy has the earpiece in and he's at the table and he's talking to himself. And then Larry starts talking to himself and he goes, I'm not doing anything any different than you. And the guy's like, I'm on the phone. He goes, nobody else knows that. That would be me. Because right now I just want to go have like a normal human experience. And unfortunately, I find myself twisting in the wind of all of this social media, and I'm just dying to unplug and go crawl into a hole for a few days.
Do whatever you need to do, Roy.
Yeah, I'm going to go into a restaurant and stare at the wall and talk to myself. With all my hand gestures, I'll look like a friggin' lunatic. They'll have me committed. I'd be like talking to the wall, like all these Italian hand gestures complaining. They'd be like, these guys arguing with the wall. I'd be like, no, I'm just trying to have
just go to a place
trying to have a human moment.
Just go to a place where it won't be that noticeable.
Where like I'm facing like another group and it looks like I've just had like the addendum table. Just pretend I'm with the other group.
Yes.
Just be like, no, I'm with them over there. They didn't have enough space, so I just thought I'd hang back, you know. No, it's just weird. It's just weird. Like I want to unplug.
Or pretend like you're on the phone.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I would do. I'd go there and I would just sit there and have pretend like I'm on the phone the whole time, so I don't look like a lonely loser. I'll just keep this phone line going and I'll take calls from the restaurant. I'll be like, I'm having a chicken parmesan. You're on the air, you know. No, it's fine. I got a lot of respect for the fact that your kids feel that way. That says a lot. And I don't know what their interests are or where they're headed, but you know, it's all good if they have that mindset, because that's a great foundation.
I was happy to hear it from them, not just think it, but to like have confirmation
Yeah.
and to hear their thought process as to why they don't like it. That was a good moment in a very odd weekend between TikTok and the inauguration, all that stuff. It was just like, okay, well, I mean, I guess being a parent hasn't been a complete flop for me over the last
That's
20
a huge
years,
win.
you know.
Yeah,
my
good
kids
for you.
are, yeah.
Now it's your
Okay.
turn to get off social media.
All right, word. I do. I really do. But I this taught me that I'm probably spent a little bit too much time, and I'm going to blame my foot for my inactivity and the fact that I have, limited access. So I find myself more on social media than I normally am. But yeah, I saw that it exposed something that I didn't necessarily like in the amount of time that I spend, or how easily frustrated or frazzled I got over something that at the end of the day should not bring me frustration. It should be a bit of escapism or a tool or a source of information, not me going a deep dive into people's like problems and kind of like getting them from myself. I'm like, I've got my own problems. I can't be dealing with that. And I could tell that I'm too old for that.
I hear you. Let me tell you something really quick. And I'm sure you'll appreciate this because you pop on, whether it's in the chat or in the Discord, you pop on. You want to. Sometimes you're just looking to have a conversation with folks. Like it's harmless, right? And you never know who you're talking to. And then you can open up a different app, and then you can find out who you're really talking to. And I'm like, I'll open up Twitter, and I'll see somebody that's been in my audience forever who complains about toxic people and this, that, and the other. And they are doing the most toxic things you can imagine. And I'm like, wow. Like, where's the introspection? I mean, I know we're all capable. I know we're all capable of making mistakes. But I look at how toxic it inherently is that somebody would like you today, not like something you have to say because it's different than your opinions, feel the need to take a screenshot of you and then go talk crap about you on a different platform as if anyone cared what you had to say because you're a nobody. And I mean that in the data sense of it all, in the metric sense. There's nobody looking. Okay? But to do that, to literally feel the need to take the time and to be that vicious towards a complete stranger shows what a complete whack job you are. And then you find out that these are the people that like the app is feeding to you. And it's not everybody, obviously, but a lot of it is based off the fact that the app leverages that, right? The app leverages people in need. I mean, TikTok seriously manipulates people. And you don't get that experience on YouTube. I don't know, YouTube Shorts has a feed, but I think part of it with TikTok is the more you scroll and they feed you more things of your interest and they take you down that rabbit hole. And then the next thing you know, you're in a community, if that's what you want to call it. And I don't really consider it a community unless you have a live or like a place for people, like the chat. The chat section of a video, the comment section of a video is not a community in my eyes. But then what happens is you find yourself in a community, and by that I mean the Discord, the live chat, right? That I think there's a difference there. So now you find yourself in a community with these strangers, and you're just trying to live your life, and the next thing you know, you're being screenshot and attacked by somebody, and they're who's lived a third of your life experiences because you've allowed them in. And I'm talking about multiple people right now. I'm talking about multiple people. But these people are crazy. I got to put up with this. And I'm like, really? I don't care. I'm all for having an honest, good conversation. I don't have to agree with you. I'm not trying to convince you to agree with me. I might learn something from our disagreements, but I'm not going to go out of my way to vilify somebody because they don't agree with me. And there's something in this younger generation that feels the need to attack the older generation with a lack of respect. And I don't care if the age difference is 10 years, 15 years, 30 years. But there's some sort of arrogance going on, and I'm going to call it the white male privilege. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say it, because both of the people that I'm thinking of, two particular people, okay, and they're both young guys that got a chip on their shoulder. All right? And I see the way they carry themselves out there, and it's an embarrassment. And this is what I talk about with children raising children, because A, they're probably were raised by children, and they probably will still be children when they go to raise children. So I say all that to commend you for raising what we would call mensches, and I know you know what that means.
Yeah. I've always said my kids were old souls from the moment they came out. They've always marched to the beat of their own drum. And maybe not had as many friends as kids nowadays kind of feel like they need in order for the. I mean, I think all generations go through that in some regard, but I've always been very specific to my kids when they got to school, and I said, listen, there are going to be people in this world that are going to dislike you for no reason. You could literally stand there and ask them, what did I do that makes you dislike me? Can I work on it? Like, can we talk about it? They just don't like you for the sake of not liking you. And if that affects you to the point that you can't function because you know that there's someone out there that dislikes you, that's what you need to work on, because you've now allowed them power in your own life.
Oh, when correct.
They don't live your life. They don't know.
110%. But the flip side of that is there are people out there that because they feel that way, they then take the time and the energy to then go vilify somebody. And it's like, not only do I not like you, but instead of being passive about my dislike, I'm going to go create content around it. And I'm thinking about something I saw this morning on Twitter. You know? And it's like, you really took the time to make, I mean, even if it was 5 minutes, you really took the time to create content around how much you can't stand somebody that doesn't agree with you, even though you don't know this person. Shame on you.
Yeah, that's the one that really gets me. It's going, I mean, I'll try to say this as quickly as I can.
That's fine, because I'm done after, unless there's another caller, Danny, we're wrapping up together. So please.
Okay. When my kids were smaller, I was involved in their school. I eventually became the PTA president, and that was a very eye-opening experience. I was involved for like 5 years, and there is something to be said for having to deal in a diplomatic way with teachers, administrators, people in the school district, but mostly fellow parents. That is probably one of the most toxic experiences I ever had. I was happy to help the teachers, happy to help the students. I was brought up to be very much into helping others, volunteering from a very young age. And I've tried to teach my kids to do the same. And I figured if I have the time, I'm going to teach my children this by example. I'm going to show them that you can do things for the betterment of other people. And so I became involved. And those experiences that I had during that time were very eye-opening. Some gave me some of the best friendships I've ever had and still have to this day, even though my children are way out of elementary school and the only contact we have is because we made true friendships. But then you see other people, other parents, and you're like, okay, so this is the way they choose to raise their kids and that whole kind of thing. And I made the mistake very early on when I was still in my 30s and kind of younger. I made the mistake of when I was in that position and people would say, oh, are you on, I think it was just Facebook at the time. Are you on Facebook? And I said, yeah. And they were, oh, like, can I send you a friend request? I'm like, yeah, sure. I did not see the harm in it at that time because it was a very new experience, I think, for everyone.
Yeah.
And I only had connectivity at that time with my close family and friends from high school, that kind of people that you just wanted to keep connected with and share photos and stuff and stupid memes and things that would come up. So I made the mistake of accepting friends from these people that I just knew in a very kind of cursory kind of way because they were fellow parents. And I remember distinctly one time this mom, who I thought we were very cool with each other until she messaged me. And it was the first time that I even knew what Messenger was. I got this weird thing and I had to like download it and like whatever it was. And she said, she went on this rant about how she thought it was terrible that I, as the PTA president, was saying, like, using foul language in my post.
But you're exposing yourself to that. That's the crazy thing.
Right. See, the only place I post is on Facebook. I don't have a single post on Instagram, and I don't have a single post on TikTok. And this is very deliberate. But again, I stopped doing that after that point. I deleted unfollowed all those people, but I didn't answer her for a few days because it took me aback. And then when I finally saw her in person, and then she acted like if nothing was wrong, which that just threw me for a loop. I'm like, is this lady like manic? Like, what's her problem?
It shows you how crazy people are.
And then she was freaked out because I think she thought, okay, I'm going to say this to this person. I'm going to type it, send her this message, and then she'll respond to me in a message. And then it'll exist in this bubble outside of, our school relationship.
Right. But that's it.
And I just went right up to her and I said, listen, I'm very old school. I deal with it like face to face. So I didn't know you felt this way about me. And it seems like you've been harboring this for a while and you had to let it out. So now that we're here together, you want to go to the corner and grab a cup of coffee and then maybe we could talk it out. And she was like, oh, no, I don't have any problem. I said, you just sent me a message that said that you thought it was, and I quote, terrible that I was using foul language in my post. And I'm not going to say the things that I said in the post, but I told her, listen, I'm a 38-year-old woman who's lived a good chunk of life, has given birth twice. I'm Hispanic too. We kind of talk that way. And I'm talking to my fellow family members and my fellow friends that have known me for 20, almost 30 years, some of them. If I can't say this or this in my post on my page, which are people that I have allowed in, and you have something that you think that's wrong or that makes me a lesser person because I'm letting my quote unquote hair down with my family and friends, it's not like I'm saying this to the 7-year-old in second grade.
Just don't follow me. Just unfollow me.
There's a time and a place for it. Yeah. And I said, I don't know why you thought that you had the right to say that to me, but the fact that you chose to do it through like a text or whatever it was, and you couldn't say it to my face. And I said, you look like you're young and this is your first kid and this is your first experience in like the real world in this setting. I'm like, you need to grow up. Okay. And you need to realize that when you want to say something to a person, you go up to them and you say it to their face.
Yeah, but they hide behind their keyboards.
Right. So at that point, I never, ever again accepted a friend request on a place where I routinely posted, especially pictures that included my children and were in family settings. I never did that again. And I learned a big lesson early on in social media to keep my personal life very separate from anything else. And again, this was a volunteer job. I wasn't getting paid for this. So there really wasn't anything on the line. I even went so far as to go to the principal and say, look, this happened. I don't know if this person's going to have an issue. And the principal looked at me and said, like, I don't care. You can say whatever you want. It's your own thing. And if she doesn't like it, she can go fly a kite.
Just don't read it.
So
right.
I just feel like we've gone to a point where if you want to make this your livelihood and your livelihood is tied to it, you better think a lot about what it is that you're going to put out there, because if it's tied to your personal life and the things that you share on a personal basis, it's entirely up to you. It's your right to do so. But I would treat making money on social media as a job, as like a true job where you kind of clock out and leave it behind. Whatever you feel comfortable sharing, just know that somebody can come right behind you and twist it and make it into something.
But that's everything in this world. I mean, that's the problem. I mean, like, look, you literally can get drugged through the mud for something you tweeted 20 years ago. But I'll leave you with this, Danny, and then I'll let you go. I had a parallel experience, a little different, maybe a bit inverted. When I was on Facebook years ago, I get a friend request, and I accept the friend request, somebody I know. Okay. And the next thing you know, I'm seeing like the ramblings of a lunatic in my feed. And I'm like, oh my God, I know that this person doesn't feel this. Like, I know this person feels this way, but the way that these writings are being posted and the way I'm reading them, I mean, this is psychotic. So I blocked them. It was my mother. I'm serious. I'm serious.
God, that took me out right now.
I'm like, do you not have any punctuation skills? I mean, it was insane. It was insane.
Oh, you needed to cut her a break.
No, I blocked her. I'm like, I'll talk to you on the phone. I'll talk to you on the phone where there's context. I'm not reading this nonsense. It was like, and she was saying things that would get her arrested. And then she'd be like, I got put in Facebook jail. I'm like, you're lucky it was only Facebook jail. Like, I'm not overreacting. She got banned like multiple times for the stuff she said. I'm like, you're crazy. You're lucky they don't come to your door. You can't say those things on social media. And she's a volunteer in her community.
Oh.
Anyway, I'll talk to you later, Danny. Thank you for calling in.
No problem. Bye.
Bye. It's the truth. It's the truth. I was like, wow, you're crazy. By the way, you want to know what's crazy? The deals you can get from pamperedchef.com on spatulas and mandolins and amazing pots and pans and knives. Plus, don't miss out on the small appliances like the coffee makers, the deluxe air fryer. Spice up your kitchen today. Go to Colleen Herman at pamperedchef.com/PWS/Colleen Herman. pamperedchef.com/PWS/Colleen Herman. And with no estate plan, you could be leaving those you love the most with high taxes, probate fees, and an incomplete or divided estate and legal fights and fees. If you live in Florida, contact RK Law for a free consultation to discuss the options and tools you have available to protect your home, savings, and estate for those you love the most. To get started, send an email to Russell at RKLawPro.com, Russell at RKLawPro.com, or call 786-566-2456 to set up your consultation today. Last minute shipping from the parks. My friends at the UPS store got you covered. Whether you're local, you need a notary, or you're looking for shipping supplies at P.O. Box, they got you covered. Last minute shipping from the parks, they got you covered. 6526 Old Brick Road, right behind the Magic Kingdom. 6526 Old Brick Road, that's the UPS store. And of course, William.bailey Travel's available for all of your travel needs, whether you're looking to plan a Disney vacation, a cruise, a Disney cruise, or just explore anywhere in the world. William provides a customizable experience at competitive rates, so go check out William Bailey Travel by going to William.bailey at academytravel.com, or go to Royces.com and fill out the travel form on my website. That's William.bailey at academytravel.com, or Royces.com and fill out the travel form on my website. And it looks like I'm looking at something and reading it and wondering what I'm reading, but I'm really just making this part up as I go because none of that's written on the screen in front of me. But thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to Danny for calling in. I guess slow day on the phones, understandable. I'm going to wrap it up with y'all. I appreciate you. We are going to talk to a gentleman, a former mayor, later today. I guess he's running for state assemblyman. I think he considers himself a bit of a disruptor. So we're going to talk to him about what he's accomplished in his community, what he wants to accomplish for his state, and maybe we'll give him a hard time. Why not? Speak a little truth to power. I'll see you there.